What's up, everybody? What's happening? It's K Mega 405 coming to you live from the 405, where I'm just your regular gamer talking to the intelligent gamers. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Be so kind to hit that subscribe button. I wish this was live, but at the present time, it can't be. So uh, hit that notification bell anyway and share this out because I definitely have something that I want to say, and I think it will be worth your time. So let me go ahead and just kick this off, right? So I mean, we all understand what's going on right now with the leak with The Last of Us 2, and it's very unfortunate. It's not something to laugh over. It's not something to just to go after Sony fans. In particular the Last of Us fans, because if this was any of the games that Xbox or Nintendo or PC fans would be highly anticipating and wanting to see, and any of those games got leaked, and people would try to come after those individuals for it, it would be absolutely atrocious. So I understand that, like, there's Sony fans that like to take shots at Xbox fans for just a little bit of everything, and Nintendo fans included. But with this one, this is a lot more deeper, and it cuts a lot deeper as well to the gaming community than it does with just trying to have fanboy wars over it. So I do want to say some things though. I was on a Xbox 448's channel and we talked about it. There was a PlayStation guy that I just met for the first time. Was his name was Bit Gamer, I believe. Really cool guy. Well spoken, just logical, not over the top, not trying to be somebody that's trying to have a motive or an agenda for the brand that he prefers. It's just was realistic, talking. That's what it's all about, is having a discussion. And that's what I want to have with this in this video. I mean, I'm going to be real about it. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything because that's just not what I do. So of course I'm going to make people pissed off because I'm just going to keep it real. But the one thing about it too, I just want to have a discussion because I really do feel bad for the developers. I do feel bad for the fans for this title. It looks awesome. It looks fantastic. It's not something that I got into when I played the very first game. I might try to go back into it to check it out and see if my expectations have changed. I doubt it very seriously. But the point of the matter is, it's not about what I think about the game. It's about the people who enjoy the game. And this leak that came out, man, it's bad. But who's to blame? That's the biggest question. I think that there's a lot of fingers that should be pointed at a whole bunch of different groups of people, individuals. But the main culprit behind this is Sony. There's no doubt about this. But I'm going to start off first and just let you know who's part of the blame other than Sony. Sony's going to get the last of this work, but the first is going to be Naughty Dog, obviously, because Naughty Dog has been making these decisions of causing crunch. When we even seen that there was a lot of that when Jason Schaefer made that Tataku uh, article in regards talking about the situation with crunch, and I mean it's gone all the way back with the whole crunch situation with other big time studios when you had with 2K what was going on with Rockstar Games. I mean, it's gone also with sexual harassment that was with PC Dev that does League of Legends. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, you see even hear about what happened with Gearbox, with the main head, the CEO, won't pay employees after the game is been successful. It charted really well, and there's still employees that didn't get paid. So I mean, there's a lot of this stuff going around. But the one group that I'm going to go after is the people that I call stands. Some people call them ponies. I call them PlayStation fanatics. I just give them just a name called stands. They're a part of this as well. And you might say, well, why is that, Mega? It's real simple. All the time when I posted stuff about this, we talked about this on GRG months ago when we first heard about it, and even when we was going back to GRG last year, and when we first heard about the situations that was going on with sexual harassment with people of color not getting a fair shake. All of this, we've talked about the type of stuff going on in the gaming industry that needs to be addressed. And with this, situation right here was Naughty Dog, which is probably looked at as Sony's biggest studio. Only thing that they have talked about the whole time since this leak has gone out is talking about, well, poor poor Naughty Dog. Look at what happened to them. Oh man, but it's still going to chart well, still going to sell well. What about the employees that hasn't got paid? What about the people that's gone through the crunch and you talking about the head the face of Naughty Dog or the person that's in charge or Sony themselves, but you're not really thinking about the person that leaked this out. Of course, this person should be also scrutinized, but you also have to look at the human element about this. You have to understand that this person did this for a reason. They must have felt him or her, or if it was individuals, because I've heard that there was multiple people, but who's to say? But we do know that it was over financial situations. They were disgruntled, they were pissed off, they made this decision to do this, and risking their not even it's not their career is over. It's finito. It's gone. It's chitons. But the one thing about this though is that the individual felt wronged in such a way that they went out and did something. They spilled damn near all the tea to this game, which is something that we've never seen before. We've never even heard anything done like this before. We've seen leaks and gave out some information through shows and conferences and stuff like that, but not revealing the whole game's story, especially with a single player game and a big time game like this that's coming out. So this person was hurt. They felt wrong, and that's sad. That's sad. Yes, you're the person, like I said, this person's going to get punished for this and their career is over. But I don't think at the point in the time they even care. When you want to take lengths and steps like this to do this, this means that you are done in the first place. It's nothing like a scorned woman, and I don't know if this is a woman or a man. It almost has the elements of a scorned female that's out here just that does not play in any games. But like I said, it could be a male. It could be, like I said, it could be a group of people, but they're hurting because of something that Naughty Dog did that made them feel this way to do it. And I'm not saying if you don't want to feel sorry for the leaker because it's wrong as it is. But you also have to understand, though, you can't feel sorry for Naughty Dog because they have been doing this. It doesn't matter about contracts. It doesn't matter about what you are supposed to be doing. If you're working, if you're staying away from your family, 16 hours this plus and grinded to the bone, barely eating, getting mistreated, getting put onto the side because you're not one of the main faces of the studio, while other people ahead of you, they get all the luxuries and they get all the benefits and all the notoriety, and this person is only wanting compensation and they don't get it. What the hell do you think that that's going to do for you? What do you think, how you think you're going to react? You might not go to these links, but then there could be people that could be a lot worse, a lot more crazy, or there could be people that just turn their back. I think majority of people would want to scream out loud and let people know about this and what is going on within Naughty Dog. This has been alleged for quite a while. It's not been just for these last couple of months. It's been for the last couple of years. Now, I don't know if you guys have read that um, report, that article from Tataku, but it was stated in here, and I read this same thing on the podcast that we had earlier today, because there were people that were saying, no, that's not real, that's about Anthem, and we were hearing about the situation with Crunch and all that stuff with Anthem. But check this out. Here it is right here. Here's a quote. And normally I usually put it on here, but I'm kind of going with it. You could go look up the article yourself. It's talking about the Crunch situation with Taku. It's actually the last paragraph, so it's going to be really easy to find and catch. But it's right here. It says, yet there are also those developers, some of whom still work at Naughty Dog today, who say that there's a part of them that actually wish this game would fail. A critical flop might help show Naughty Dog that this isn't the best way to make games. This level of sacrifice isn't necessary. That may be the project isn't worth losing all of the people. that perhaps no matter how many Game of the Year nominations they win or how high their Metacritic score climbs, all individuals' hairs on Joel's eyebrows or the grains of sand in the Porlap sack just aren't worth the cost. Think about that for a second. These people put all these blood, sweat, and tears behind this. I mean, some people say blood, sweat, and pixels, but they put all of their hard-earned energy and time behind this game. And there's people that's still working in Naughty Dog right now that wish that this game would be a flop. Ah, yeah, this leak means a lot more to them than it does to anybody out there that's anticipating this game. They suffered. They went through some hell to develop and work on this game. And like I said, I feel bad for the developers, but I also feel bad for the person that did this as well because they did this for a reason. They didn't just go out there to be an ass and say, I feel like today, I just to get it. Because if they didn't get compensated, just think about that. Think about the people that's hurting right now, that's going through the situations that they're going through. You worked your ass off. This other people is not working right now because they're looking to get back to work. But when you work, you put in the grind, the time, the effort, and you get nothing because of some kind of loophole in the contract or however that it's constructed. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a big problem. That's a big problem. And the developers knew it, Sony knew it, and now the stands know it. And what are they talking about? Metacritic scores, Game of the Years, and sales. The same garbage that they constantly always talk about. They kind of try to they try to holler this, well, we care about this when Sony brought up the whole thing about the pandemic and that the reason why they were delaying it was because of the pandemic, and then they wanted to try to use it as an excuse. So no, you can't talk about this game. You can't talk about anything Sony because this is about the pandemic. And if you talk about that, then what that makes you is an embarrassment because you are trying to talk bad about what's going on and people are dying. Shut up. You people are fools. You sound like imbeciles. Having a gaming discussion and talking about what the thing, and if people, and most people saw right through what Sony was trying to do because they kept delaying the game, they kept delaying the game. I've said this when I talked about this earlier last month, or probably earlier in the month. I made a video talking about it when I said that this is probably just a push to get the game to the PlayStation 5. They could easily push this game out, have digital copies put out, and then let physical copies come out. Now, it was a great point from what Bitpoint said, which they wanted to try to present to the market. Look at us, because that game was going to sell like hotcakes because it's been highly anticipated. So look at us. We want all the sales accrued. And look at this. Look at how big this budget is. Look how much we did. Then of course Naughty Dog gets all the praise. Another Game of the Year, nomination. A lot of hype, all the lore, sales talk, something that they could lift their high spirits on because in 2020, let's face it, Sony hasn't been looking too hot. Now look at the situation. The game could have came out in 2020, February 2020, but then when they pushed it back the other two times, the devs actually came out and said something from Naughty Dog. They said themselves that the game was ready. They said the game was ready to go, but our hands was tied. We have to listen to our employer. So what does that tell you? Sony was slow playing, and then they used the pandemic as an excuse because of money, which it's a company. It's all about money. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They're caring about their investors. I get it. I said that. You know what I'm saying? It's a smart business decision. But if you was really thinking about getting this game out and thinking about the developers as well, because they want to see the fruit of their labor be out there and get talked about and get praised from everybody, because I'm sure that the game would have, especially seeing the leaks and everything. There's a lot of crazy stuff in the leaks. But that's the thing right there. Sony was trying to go for the home run, and now they got hit. So now all of a sudden, the game is now up for release. They got no choice now. They're put in a corner. And you know what? The stands don't say anything about the crunch. It's all about the same three things that they always talk about. So when they come in talking about people and how much they care and stuff like that, shut up, because you guys are liars. You're frauds. You have no credibility as it is. Most of the majority of the people do know that. That small entity, that group that constantly is always just the loudest, that speak these same narratives over and over and over again. You guys have been so wrong. I can make a video from here all the way until probably the end of next week of just talking about how wrong that y'all have been on almost every damn thing that y'all have made speculations about. And the sad thing about it is that there's good people that actually listen to their rhetoric and think that it's true. And at one time, it's been brought up about, well, when all this stuff was brought up, if you had a group of people who really cared, because let's look at this and look at this from a different perspective, right? Let's check this out and say that this was 343, this was Playground, or this was Turn 10 or something, right? And they were having the same type of issues. The coalition. Let's say that Rod Ferguson, he left because the coalition was not doing what they were supposed to do, or it was, so you've seen this mad exodus from 343 or from Playground Games now, and they just now starting to build their company, and all these people are just mad exodus, just going to Sony or going to Nintendo or just going elsewhere, and you keep hearing rumblings and rumblings that these people are not doing what they're supposed to for their employees and this crunch situation and everything else, and then Microsoft is just sitting on their hands and going do 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 do. How many of those stands do you think wouldn't be screaming foul at Xbox fans for not saying nothing? So they would come into the point of saying, look, hey, we're going to say something for you. And then again, then you're going to start then the ball's going to roll. It's going to turn into a big old snowball. It's going to keep rolling, and you're going to still keep hearing everybody saying the same thing. Xbox fans are going to start saying, and then next thing you know, here comes people hashtagging for whatever, and then they're going to be trying to hit, Phil and Aaron and Bonnie Ross or whoever that's from whatever the place that with the studio that it would have been that had the issues, and start demanding better treatment for these employees. And if you think I'm lying, let's make a bet on that. Let's make a bet on that. Because you know that it's true. And normally something would get done because Xbox has been pretty much for this whole generation, it's been quite transparent through the good and the bad and the ugly. Been quite transparent. Some things doesn't come off too well, but for the most part, you do find out something. Sony has just been keeping it quiet. They've been kind of coasting on through, but the coasting situation has not been happening in 2020. They tried to let this all play out when you was hearing about the stuff with Quantum Dreams and everything that was going on with the makers of for the head of that studio of Detroit and Beyond Two Souls and stuff like that, and then Sony seemed like to drop them and let them kind of be their own independent studio, and then now they're with Epic. So it's one of those things, right, where we have to start paying attention to these things, and hopefully that because a big title like this did have this happen, which is it's unreal, that maybe more people will start talking about this instead of trying to keep their face in the sand and think that sales and all these little cute narratives that people talk about in their circles is more important than the human element and then the human sacrifice that these people put into these games. There behind every face of these games. They have families. They have a history. They have something about them that is special, and it's great that they do a craft that us gamers that love this hobby appreciate, and we appreciate all these people that make these great games from big to small. I know I do. But shame on you, stands, for not opening your mouth way sooner. Shame on you now that you still don't open your mouth and you still keep your face in the sand like a coward. Because that's what you are. That's what you've always been. Through your sock accounts, when you want to say what you really feel, and then you too afraid to say it under your true account because you're a fraud, you're a coward, you're a bum. For the people out there that only play the same 5, 6 games because that's all they can talk about. For the ones that don't even play games and they're on social media all damn day. and they want to talk about the same stupid shit to get people upset. Yeah, shame on you. You're a fraud, and people shouldn't listen to you. But I know, it's just the way of the nature of the beast with social media. But people shouldn't listen to you. You're a cesspool, and you should be forgettable. I mean, for me, it's funny. I seen somebody make a post, make a post and tag me in it, like saying, well, this game gets all the narrative and it talks more about any Xbox game. This isn't about Xbox game, idiot. You know what I'm saying? You always say these type of words, idiot, but these people are really damn. They're dumb. They're because a lot of them will try to keep doing this little thing, and then they'll try to say, "Oh man, we're just playing, man. It's just jokes." No, it's not. You really think some of this stuff. You really believe it. Foolish, just foolish. Grown ass men and women can't comprehend more than some little popularity contest. You know, you probably played small games. You can't talk about a game like Journey back in the PlayStation 3 days, and then going to talk about smaller titles of filler. You can't, but they do. It's funny to me, man. You can't talk about Astrobot. That would be considered from what they talk about a filler game, but because it's got a Metacritic score higher than some maybe big budget games, that we could talk about that. That's not filler because that's a shut up, man. Y'all guys are really off the rocker. Y'all are lost. But also, on top of that, none of these stands out here, these stand fans that have no control with their own emotions. They don't know what they're talking about. They make fools out of themselves all the time. The biggest culprit is Sony. Sony has got all the fingers has to be pointed at Sony, and it goes back to the stuff that I've been saying for a long time. All of this turnover is going to affect them in more ways than one. Sean Layton's gone, Andrew House is gone, all these other people are gone. And the fact of it is that, damn, you know what I'm saying? The right hand don't know what the left hand is doing, vice versa. And now you look at the situation and it turns into what you see now. Sony should have been there to nip this in the bud immediately. Once this started getting out, there should have been somebody that was hitting up Sony headquarters and saying, "Look, we having a problem with Naughty Dog. We seem like we might have a disgruntled employee." Because that damn show could tell you this. This employee, I'm sure, tried to reach out to Sony, tried to reach out to somebody else that was a higher up, that was over the heads of Naughty Dog, maybe trying to say, "Hey man, what's up? Where's my money at?" You know what I'm saying? Where's our money at? What's going on? Why am I being treated? Why are we being treated like this? Can we get a little break here? So whatever the case may be, I guarantee you that individual or individuals made that decision to try to probably go over the head of the main boss, and it may have got to Sony or it may not have. But with that article that came out, you damn sure would have thought that somebody paid attention to that. And maybe somebody did. Maybe somebody went up there and went to Naughty Dog and said, "Hey, look, what's going on? Well, let's have a meeting. Let's talk about this." I don't think that happened. Or Sony could have been, you know what? We need this game out. We need it done, and we need it done immediately. We need to get this game finished. We're ready to show it. We don't really have anything that we want that exclusive wise to show, but Ghost of Toshima, which that's a new IP. We want to bring out the flow. We know that Halo's coming. Nintendo's going to have bangers coming. New consoles is coming. We want to have something to get everybody excited for. So do what you do over there, Neil, or whoever. They they could have avoided all of this. They could have probably fired the person, and then if the person tried to say something, you know what I'm saying, make sure they took all the assets from them, all that stuff, and that could have been nipped in the bud, or they could have catered to the person or to the group of people in the studio and assured them that they had their back. And maybe they did. Who knows? But all I know is that Sony gets the brunt of this because they allowed this to happen, and they tried to bamboozle the fan base Like I said, karma's a bitch, man. Because look at this situation, man. They tried to use the pandemic, and now all of a sudden the game is going to get released here in June. The developers already said that the game was already ready. And you know what the feedback that I get from the stands? June, they're lifting everything in June. I didn't know that the pandemic was over with in June. I didn't know that every store in the United States or in the world was going to open in June. That is just a date that people are saying that some people are saying, or most people are wanting to try to get started on this. And there's still not a cure in this pandemic, so the game stops in other stores still might be closed at that point in time. So there's still going to be issues with physical copies. So which means if you want the game, you're going to have to probably mostly get it digital, which is something that I said months ago when they did the first delay, or like I guess the third delay or whatever, however many delays it's been, when it was supposed to come out in February. They were scared that Cyberpunk was coming, so they delayed it again. Then the situation happened, and then they said, "Hey, we're going to do it like this," and then it's indefinite. Then they turned it to indefinitely, and it definitely only comes to something. And then there was somebody else. "Oh, man, it was only been a couple of weeks. That's the point. They was already giving people money back. And this game, they should have did it one or two ways. As I said, they should have just made it a PS5 launch and just made sure that they had the game for the PlayStation 4 gamers, but which would contradict everything that the stands has been talking about holding games back, no parity. You know what I'm saying? I want my machine to be all powerful. I don't want anything else to be on whatever, whatever. It's funny, bro. It's really funny. All I can tell you is that as gamers, um, man, we've had the joy of playing a lot of great games, small and big. And what Sony was trying to do and try to pull the wool over the gamers' eyes, it fell right back in their face. So they take the biggest blame in this because they could have stopped this. They could have made sure that they was taking care of the games. And it's something what Pred said, and he's absolutely right. Now, because of this, every company is going to have meetings and talking about this, and they're going to be all in a conference room saying, "Look, we can't have that." And they're going to put in more restrictions. So, if you look at it from a standpoint, it all could have been prevented. And the strategy now is all kind of messed up. And I do feel bad for everybody all the way around. So, hopefully, we learn something from this and we get something out of this in a positive step and maybe stop getting the fanboy garbage pushed out and start looking at the human element of things and start looking at things in a bigger, better light. Because it's bad. I feel so bad for the gamers. I feel so bad for the developers. Will this game sell? Yeah, it's still going to sell. Will it affect some things? Yeah, it will affect some things because those leaks that's going out, there's people out there that slime balls and they're going to show this to all different types of people, to PlayStation fans out there that doesn't deserve this. They don't. Especially for people who really want to love and appreciate the game. And no, this is not uh, hidden footage. This is just gameplay footage that was already shown from Sony themselves. So it's like, damn, you know, um, you want better, but you also got to expect these companies to do better for their employees. This isn't. I mean, this is the reason why some of them have been talking about unions. I know that some people, especially devs themselves, some people that are in contract work, they don't believe in unions. They feel that people should know how to handle their business on their own. But nobody could actually really, you could blame the person for doing something that was this crazy, and it was really wrong because you hurt more than just the company themselves, but you also have to feel bad for the person for not for them going through the situation if the company is not doing them right. And I do. Like I said, the human element. So I definitely want to hear your thoughts about this. I think that I've said pretty much everything that I needed to say. Uh, One thing, well, one more point. Please stop listening to the people that's giving you BS. Please, they'll lead you astray every time. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. Um, you know, I don't expect everybody to agree with my point, but I do expect people to understand that that's been following me know that I've been on this. Everybody else from GRG, from the next podcast, we've been on this. We've talked about this. I mean, even the ladies from GWG, everybody's been talking about this. We've all been making these points. We've been screaming about, hey, look at this. And no, our channels are not big enough to get to the masses, but maybe now this stuff is going to start maybe waking people up and start understanding that it's not, get the fanboy garbage out of the way and start thinking about everything else that needs to happen within gaming, because gaming is great, but it's not perfect. There's still a lot of work to be done. And this right here, for what we've seen with this leak, just proves that. So until the next video, I hope everybody has a good one. I will definitely post else something else. I got a whole bunch of stuff to post, so get ready for that. So this video will probably come after I post GRG. I made an explanation of why part of GRG is missing, which sucks because it was getting into the meat and potatoes about what our main topic was for the show. But hopefully I maybe can find it. Hopefully Mixer can find it for me or whatever. But anyway, everybody have a good one. Stay up and man, keep it gaming. Peace.